Today on Bench Briefs, we're looking at a recent Supreme Court of Canada decision that dives deep into criminal law and evidence, R v. Carignan, decided in 2025. This case challenges how courts handle evidence and the standards required to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. It's a fascinating look at the intersection of procedure, constitutional rights, and the pursuit of justice. So, what happened here? The accused, Carignan, was charged with a criminal offense. While the specific nature of the offense isn't the headline, the case revolves around the circumstances leading up to the charge and the evidence the Crown presented to prove Carignan's guilt. The story involves a series of interactions and conduct by Carignan that raise questions about whether the evidence was properly obtained and whether it was strong enough to support a conviction. The case worked its way through the courts before landing at the Supreme Court, where several important issues were on the table. First, the court needed to decide whether certain evidence was admissible. This is crucial because if the evidence was gathered in a way that violated Carignan's rights or broke procedural rules, it might have been excluded. Excluding evidence can make or break a criminal case. Second, the court examined if the Crown's proof was sufficient to meet the high standard required in criminal cases. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt. This is the bedrock principle that ensures no one is convicted unless the evidence leaves the trier of fact firmly convinced of guilt. The justices had to consider whether the evidence, viewed as a whole, met this demanding standard. Third, the court clarified the proper legal test to be applied when determining guilt in this context. Sometimes lower courts can struggle with which legal principles apply or how to weigh competing pieces of evidence. The Supreme Court's role here was to provide clear guidance on how to approach similar cases going forward. Finally, the defense raised constitutional and procedural challenges, arguing that Carignan's rights had been infringed in the process. This brought in important questions about fundamental freedoms and how they balance against the state's interest in prosecuting crime. The court's analysis of these challenges helps define the limits of police and prosecutorial powers in Canada. Why does this case matter beyond Carignan's individual circumstances? For one, it reinforces the importance of rigorous standards in criminal trials. The Supreme Court's decision underscores that protecting constitutional rights is not just a formality, but a core part of ensuring fair outcomes. It sends a message to law enforcement and prosecutors about respecting legal boundaries when gathering evidence. Moreover, this ruling clarifies legal tests that lower courts will rely on in future cases. That means it shapes how justice is administered across the country, affecting countless cases where evidence challenges and constitutional issues arise. It's a reminder that criminal law is always evolving, and the highest court plays a vital role in guiding that evolution. In the bigger picture, RUV Carignan highlights the delicate balance between safeguarding individual rights and maintaining public safety. The court's careful approach illustrates how the justice system strives to be both fair and effective, ensuring that no one is convicted on shaky evidence while also holding offenders accountable. Thanks for listening to this episode of Bench Briefs. Join us next time as we break down another important legal decision shaping Canadian law. Until then, take care.